Okay, so why are we still talking about the Snyderverse? Hey, what's up, nerd fam? This is your boy Kashawn. I want to welcome you to Enter the Nerd. Okay, here's something I want to speak about because I've been hearing rumblings of it recently, and I think it's because, Zack Snyder is out there promoting Rebel Moon and having those interviews, and people are asking him about the Snyderverse and if he gave up on him. And then some YouTubers who are really adamant about still restoring the Snyderverse and stuff like that are like running with it and they're going, maybe we'll get it and whatever like that. And listen, before I want to set some precedents here. Number one, when I'm being critical about what I'm about to say right now, is not attacking people who like Zack Snyder's Snyderverse. Okay, I'm not gonna call you the Snyder cult. I'm not gonna do that because I think that's a little bit disrespectful. But there is some hypocrisy that I am going to talk about here. I do understand it's entirely subjective about what you like and what you don't like. So let's just start there, right? Also, this is something about the Snyderverse, which is DC. So I want to preface my statements by telling you, if you're going to rebut anything that I'm saying here, don't go, well, what about Marvel? What about the MCU? Did you like that? This is not about them. And no, I'm extremely critical about them. I have tons of videos talking about the shit job they've been doing. So please, no whataboutisms. And let's just, if you have a rebuttal to any point that I'm making here, let's just speak on those points. Don't rage out. And that is something that I do see in particular when it comes to those particular fan bases. Because if I talk about the MCU, they go, do you like DC? They do the same thing. So I'm not just putting that on you. I'm just saying, hey, let's be mature and rationalize in this video. But let's go forward. So there's actually certain like very large YouTubers like Tyrone Magnus who I actually really like. I really like his stuff. But he's also a big Snyderverse person, which, once again, if you just liked what Snyder had to offer when it came to Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Snyder Cut on a surface level, I understand. Here's my issue where I believe it gets hypocritical. When you talk about story and continuity as things that you really pay attention to, and keeping loyal to how the characters are, and you put that filter on a whole bunch of these other videos, other movies, and go, because they didn't do that, they're not good. And then you watch the Snyderverse and go, well, this is amazing. Tyrone Magnus actually called it a masterpiece at some point. He said a Snyder Cut was a masterpiece. And I'm like, but by the same metrics that you give everyone else, it can't be based off of that. And let me go into it. I'm gonna actually explain. So when it goes to, in particular, Man of Steel, I think that was the most solid film out of the Snyderverse. Did I have an issue with him killing Zod? Yep, because he didn't have to die. You could have just threw him in the Phantom Zone and saved him for later. Maybe Superman later goes to fight Brainiac, but he needs help, and he needs somebody who actually knows how Brainiac works, so maybe he brings Zod out the Phantom Zone. Something creative like that could have happened, but it didn't. And also that stupid scene where his father's like, don't save me. Nobody would have seen him. That was stupid. But regardless, I thought that Man of Steel was actually a great starting point to what the DCEU at that time could have been. But then we got Batman vs. Superman, and that just let me know, I was like, oh God, what is happening here? Now, Zack Snyder said that he wanted that to be Man of Steel 2, right? And he goes, well, they just wanted to shove Batman in there. Granted, he didn't want to put Batman in there originally. But are we saying that Batman vs. Superman was literally the best thing that could have came out of that? Seriously. Like, we already have a film like World's Finest, which shows you a really good way to do a Batman Superman film. So look, here's my main gripes with that. Batman's supposed to be the world's greatest detective, yet he couldn't detect that Superman wasn't this weird evil figure that was really powerful, especially when he saw him fighting the aliens that were trying to destroy the Earth. So for him to say, well, him just having great power makes him evil, doesn't make him a great detective. It just makes him unreasonable. And even Alfred had to point that out. Is that staying true to the character? No. And it seemed more like in that movie, he just took pieces of like iconic stories, like, The Dark Knight Returns and Death of Superman, and just regurgitated them into there, and that's what we got. That whole Martha, and even killing him so early, killing Superman, like nobody cared about him yet. Like, no one got to know him yet for that to even matter. The portrayal of Lex, there were so many things. Even Lex, for some reason, cataloging all of these superhumans and then having their logos and all that. Like, very weird things like that. Which some people can go, oh, that's nitpicky. But once again, how Batman acts, their conflict, it wasn't based off of anything that made any sense, because Superman didn't actually do anything to deserve that, and it just made Batman look like an irrational idiot. Really, that's really what it did. And is that who Batman is? Is that loyal to that character? It isn't. So where was the criticism of that? There was, but I'm saying for the people who love these movies, who also say they love the accurate portrayal of characters, and mind you, I liked that scene in the warehouse with Batman. I thought that was amazing. But let's get to now the Snyder cut of Justice League, right? The main problem with that particular film is the thread that goes through that entire thing, why everything is even happening, the driving action, which is the mother boxes, right? The mother boxes apparently were left there by Darkseid after he got his ass whipped by the gods, Atlanteans, certain Amazonians, and a random Green Lantern. And then he hightailed it back to wherever he went to, and some reason forgot where the damn mother boxes were, right? Now, that's stupid enough. But then to also say that the mother boxes activated when Superman died because they were scared of the Kryptonian. But the Kryptonian hasn't been there for thousands of years, so why didn't they wake up earlier? And there's no real answer to that question. But you have to understand, without the mother boxes waking up to this film doesn't happen. The fact that that particular part of the plot point doesn't make any sense at all. Yet you're going to call this a masterpiece? It can literally just be undone with that simple question. So what happened? Why weren't they around why didn't the mother boxes unveil themselves during like World War I or II, whenever Wonder Woman took place? Or before that, because remember, the gods died. Ares killed them. So why didn't they go, all right, those people who kicked Darkseid's ass are gone. Let me go let them know. It's dumb. It's not good. If you're just a person who goes, I don't care about story, and I just want to see people flying around and have powers, I get it. Then you're not being a hypocrite. But if you're a person who says, I love great story, and I love, like, continuity, but then you applaud these films as being, like, a masterpiece, how does that work? How can they be both? And this whole thing about maybe, like, the Snyderverse will come, maybe they'll sell the rights to Netflix. Why would they hire James Gunn to reconstruct their entire universe and then sell a rival streamer in Netflix rights to make an alternative universe that would compete with the one that they're making? Why would they do something like that? And this is literally what's happening in a lot of these videos. Like, I guess it's a lot of what they call copium, right? Where they're going like, maybe we'll see it on Netflix. Maybe we can still get the rest of the Vision. Was the Vision that good to begin with? Like, let's be honest. Based off of everything that you hold, was it better than what we got in the DCEU after that? I think so. Do I also think that they should never have let him go? Because his films were profitable. Man of Steel was profitable. Batman vs. Superman was profitable. $800 million, like almost $1 billion. Like, they shouldn't have got rid of him. I think that's stupid. But as far as saying that they're like amazing films, they were amazing looking. And guess what? It's not really a surprise when it comes to Zack Snyder, because Zack Snyder makes really good looking films, but they always fail when it comes to putting story and characterization together. Oh, but what about 300? He took that panel for panel. There was nothing really original about that. What about Watchmen? Same thing. But when it comes to the things where he has to put everything together himself as far as storytelling, it always kind of falls short, or at least in my opinion, for Sucker Punch, even that zombie movie he made recently. And mind you, Rebel Moon looks very visually appealing. But I've even seen some of the early reviews when it comes to that, and they say that the characterization is kind of weird. Now, guess what? I have to watch it. I'm going to make up my own opinion when it comes to that, because I don't just listen to reviewers. But it's just weird how when there's smoke, there's fire when it comes to him. And everyone's like, he should be able to finish that vision. Didn't he say that, like, the next part of it was going to be some weird love triangle where, like, Batman gets Lois Lane pregnant? Wasn't that what he was going to do? They had, like, a whole thing where it had, like, his, like, a storyboard was behind him, and that was part of it. And I'm like, this is what you thought was good? I don't know, man. It just seems kind of weird, especially when we have all, like, these same people who go after Marvel, or go after, like, some of the things in the DCEU, will then say that this is amazing. The gratuitous amounts of slow-mo for nothing. The black suit literally meaning nothing. Why was there a random black suit in the middle of the ship? At least in the comic, it had a purpose. It was healing. It was him getting the sunlight back. In this, it was just because he was feeling sad. Oh man, I just feel like wearing black today. That seems like a better thing. That was loyal to the source material. Come on. Let me know. If you like the Snyder Cut, why? Like, or Snyderverse. What was your thing about it? Like, why do you think it should be brought back? At least, let's talk about that. Instead of something new, loyal to the source material, and just better than what we got. Right? Until then, enter the nerd.